welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts Vertek and Chibi are back from their latest adventure.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today being the 17th of March 2023, we're on episode 160, winging it with our new friend Falco. How are you tonight, Falco?
I'm doing good.
Just a minor case of the deja vu?
Basically, I'm like, I've said this before.
This may have been spoken once or twice. And
I guess you
also,
we're winging it.
Yeah, we are winging it. See? We like to keep in theme around here. And Chibi, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. Might a little hiccup, but planning out stuff and things, and excited to chat about Ashes with Falco.
Hey, well, you know what they say. It's not a proper Ashes stream without a little bit of technical difficulties.
Absolutely.
Man,
Absolutely.
That is 100% true.
Also, it's really nice to see some familiar faces in the chat that recently joined us. Welcome back, guys.
Mm-hmm. So, Falco, not sure how many of our episodes you've seen, but just in case you don't know, around here we like to talk about our guest a lot. So we'd like to open up first by you letting everybody know who you are, what brought you to Ashes, and what kind of content you're looking to make. Because we caught a couple of your videos, but I'm sure that's not going to be the summary of everything you're going to do.
Definitely. Let's start. How did I get attracted to Ashes? I guess we're gonna do a little story time.
Yeah.
I had a friend who I played a lot of RuneScape with, because that's like my big MMO that I played like back in the day. He told me about a game called Ashes of Creation like in 2020, and I was like, what is this? He's like, yeah, it's gonna be like the new big MMO. It's gonna be like the Fortnite of MMOs. I was like, let me look into this. So I looked into it and I was like, this is dope. And then I went on to play New World because I came out before it. And I was like, dang, New World's kind of not hidden the same as it used to. So I was like, you know what if I start making some type of content on like Ashes right now? Now I'm here in Ashes. And yeah, like you said, I probably won't be making a lot of lore content when Ashes comes out. I'll probably be doing more stuff similar to what I did on like New World, where I had like an Iron Man series where I did stuff where I basically gathered and got everything on my own instead of like using like trading posts and stuff like that. And just cool little series that are like very unique, to the channel.
Yeah.
And you asked one more question. What was the third one?
Let's see.
What kind of content do you do?
Yeah, who are you? What brought you to Ashes, and what kind of content you're looking to make? Like, let's say the entire game launches yesterday, and so you've had a chance to dive in and experience some stuff, and now you're looking to make content on things. What's your content going to be? You're going to do like the PvP guy thing? Are you going to be the PvE guy? Are you doing guides? Are you doing live action? Or you're going to be calling the plays in PvP tournaments?
I want to do a little of everything, honestly, because that's why my channel is named Falco. I don't like being like put into a box. So like I like MMOs content, but I like making sure that I add a little of everything. Like, who knows, I might make a video where I'm cooking like in real life some food that's in Ashes, or maybe I might do a video where I'm, I don't know, going fishing and saying, going fish for a fish that's in Ashes or something like that. Or I may do like a PvP guide or PvE. I like spreading myself, all over the place.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
Fantastical. So I know you had to have had at least somebody suggest this yet. Are you gonna have like a segment or a video series like Falco Punch or something like that?
Definitely. I think that's definitely going to be a thing, because everyone asks me like, where'd you get your name? Did you get it from like Super Smash Bros or something like that? And I'm like, I actually didn't, which is funny, but like I do love Smash, so I'm like, I could totally do like a segment or something like that where I incorporate that.
There you go. Little meme name for it.
Right.
So, what kind of platforms are you going to be on?
I'm gonna try my best to be on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Those are my big ones.
All right.
And I noticed that you have a Patreon and a few other things where people can support you.
Yes, that Patreon was initially for a different thing because I had put content out for webtoons.
Yeah.
You guys know what webtoons are?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
But just making sure, because I know webtoons not like super huge. But I used to put out like webtoon content where I would do like reactions and stuff. So it's for that, but I'm gonna have to find another way to like repurpose it probably for like Ash's content.
Yeah, I saw that you did that. Though I thought it was really cool because I mean I like anime. Obviously, I'm an anime girl at the moment, kind of Western style, but still an anime girl.
Right.
So I mean, I've also loved anime in general, so it was just kind of cool. I was like, awesome, somebody else who's into anime.
Right.
So,
Anime's dope.
Yeah,
Right.
I like that. It's awesome. Alrighty, well. We were talking because some of the stuff is also kind of about like the last live stream, but I guess just to kind of allow the viewers to kind of get a better idea, or our community to get a better idea of, you know, what you're into as far as Ashes and stuff. What was your take on the previous live stream? Because you said that you made, I think, a video on it, and then people were like not agreeing with you very much. So what was your take, just for curiosity's sake?
My take was that I felt like it was a step backwards. Like I felt like all like the tail end of last year we had like the Melee showcase, the Ranger showcase, we had Unreal 5, we had the weather system, we had and then they say, oh, we're gonna show you the user interface. And like me and my friend, because I have another friend who I got into Ashes, where he was like really excited for the showcase. We thought it was actually gonna be like them going into the actual game and showing us, because we had already seen like the quest guide or the quest thing in previous like iterations of like the live streams, and we also saw like the map and everything. So we're like, there's no way they're gonna show us like a PowerPoint of like stuff. There's no way they're gonna do that. And what do? They show us like a PowerPoint of like stuff, and I was like, I was critical of it because I was like, I know you guys have some of this probably in the game, but you may not want to show us it. But it's like, this is a step backwards. Like it's not. I don't feel like it makes it seem like less is done in the game than what it really is, and I'm pretty sure that's not the case. And that was my take, and people were like, well. I forgot exactly what someone said, but people are kind of coming at me in like a malicious way, and I was like, I always preface my stuff. I say, this is my opinion, and like,
I mean, that is a very absolute fair opinion. I hear nothing wrong with that, honestly. It's pretty based in my opinion. But yeah, it's just one of those. I get it. Like if you're not showing an in-game version of it, then you know, something might be up. Obviously, either you don't have it completely integrated, or maybe it is integrated, but there's like some bugs and you have to work on it, things like that. So I could see why they wouldn't show it in game, but I could also see the perspective of it not being shown in game feeling like a step back, and so like I completely understand.
Exactly.
Also, I just want to say real quick, Sir Onsington says Falco would make a terrible vampire if he doesn't like being in boxes. And he played New World, and you're right, late game just isn't sustainable still.
Definitely, it's not, and it's more so like, at least with New World, I feel that the last update was in October, and they kind of made it so the newest update's about to come out like this month or next month, and it's like it's ridiculous. 6 months between like major updates or any type of bug fixes, that's not sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. And just to mention some more of the things that people said in chat, Sir Ensington said, true, I mean, they're showcasing how they are building buttons in a game. Like, dang, what about more, what about like more about classes, you know, and you know, somebody, Mr. Valentine was like, Nodes 3.
And what annoyed me the most is when they showed us like the blacksmithing thing, they had like all of the different types of like weapons, or at least some of them, and they had like a scroll wheel, so I'm assuming there's more weapons down there. They could at least showed us what some of the weapons that they're maybe going to make are, and they could have just been like, this is subject to change, like they said with the crossbow. Like it was a thing that they're gonna make, but now they're not. So I'm like, they could totally just like preface this. Some of these may not make it to the game, but this is what we have so far that we want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. I actually, they just had a office hours, I think, yesterday. And I got to jump in on that. That was really cool. They're asking about opinions and stuff. My biggest, not complaint, but my biggest feedback was it's really hard when Intrepid asks things like, how do you guys like this? How do you, do you enjoy this stuff? When I can't physically test it, because to know if a UI is good or not, in my opinion, is something that I need to test. I need to see how I like it. But they did ask some really important questions, like what are some examples of UI things that you don't like not just in games, but out of games. Like sometimes if a UI is just completely blocking your view on a certain area of the screen, that can get really annoying if you can't get it to click away properly and things like that. And then they asked like, what are your favorite things? And they asked about like add-ons and what kind of add-ons you use and why do you use add-ons and things like that. But there was a lot of interesting feedback that I heard, and a lot of getting off topic. But it was interesting because a lot of people, the biggest thing that they said was that they didn't think that UI should be important or is important. And I, as a web developer, I loved hearing that. And it sounds counterintuitive, but as a web developer, and the reality of UI is UI shouldn't feel important to you. It should feel intuitive. You shouldn't notice the UI. The UI should just be there, and you should just use it without even thinking about it. And that just, I don't know, that just shows how much people use a UI without realizing that they're using a UI.
I agree. And like you said, you have to try it to actually enjoy and understand if you enjoy it. And I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm not sure. I've never developed a game, but maybe they should wait until Alpha 2 to like fine tune it. Because that's when people actually are going to be able to give proper like feedback on it. All right, so I'll ask you both a question and then we'll get into the main topics. I'll ask you the same question that they asked at the ending of the UI open or office hours. And that question is, how much customizability should the UI have, and is there a such thing as too much customizability? I feel like with customizability, I think there's too much customizability when it takes too much time to get through all the ways you can customize it. Like for instance, like with an iPhone, there's customizability on it, but to an extent, but it's still intuitive, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that's why most people use iPhones, because it's like it's customizable, but it's intuitive, it's simplistic. And I feel like the good UI has like all those things with it. It's simple enough to where you don't really need to change it too much, but it's also customizable enough to feel like, oh, I can make things transparent if I need to, or do stuff like very minimal type of things, you know?
Yeah. I think my view on it is I think that they should design what they believe is the perfect UI. What they believe is their absolute best product they could possibly make in the most Ash's vision possible. But then they should look at it and say, okay, what did we build into this? Now we need to give them a hook to adjust everything. There is no such thing as too much customization capability, because if you like it the way it is, then that's great. That's fantastic. That's amazing. That's a great job by the developers right there. But if there's something about it that really bothers you, you should be able to change it. Like, you don't have to go through all the things, but if you just bump into, you know what? Like for WoW, for example, I absolutely despise those weird gargoyle things at each end of the hotbars that they give you by default. I despise those things. I don't know why, but they just bother the living bejeebus out of me. I cannot stand them.
Well, they are kind of big and clunky. I just don't really see how they fit with the theme of the game completely.
Yeah. It's like, but they're so awkward, and they're not even like holding the hotbar. They're just standing there at the edges. And to me, they just feel weird, and I don't know why they've included them in every single version of the game. And like, I don't know. But stuff like that, I think like you should just be able to change it. just flat out.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
You know what? These buttons are too big. I don't need my skills to take up a quarter of the screen. I'm just gonna shrink them down, get them out of my way. I can see a tiny little thing well enough.
Exactly. And those are the things I feel like are the best things, where you can make things transparent, you can shrink them, or you can just get rid of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And my response to that was, I think there is no such thing as too customizable, but for the people that feel like they get lost among the sea of options, there should be a basic menu with an advanced tab. And then the advanced tab would go into each individual, like more specific, all that stuff. Real quick, Ravan was saying that they should have announced the crossbow removal before the live stream rather than during it, since it feels like they just said it out of the blue. And part of the reason why they said it out of the blue is because it was a random question. It was something that a viewer asked, and they had to actually go and check into it. And then they said, I told Ravan that in the chat there, and then Ravan says, but in the end, they could have announced it better since they made that choice in the end to remove the crossbow, like maybe an announcement on Discord or one of the developer notes in the email. And I do hear where you're coming from. However, I also know, as somebody who not only works with somebody who works on a lot of projects at once, but also as somebody who keeps track of a lot of things at once just in my daily life, that may have been something that they didn't think was too significant potentially. And I'm not trying to defend them, I'm just trying to give you a different perspective. When making so many choices, there are a lot more choices that are more important and a bigger dramatic change to the game than something that was supposed to be a extra on the Kickstarter that got met as a bonus of each goal. So it could be that they didn't really think about that, and that may have been why they took a moment to respond to people, is because they're like, all right, now that we realize what, like, this happened and we didn't say anything, how are we going to explain it to them? And then they even offered for Embers to be reimbursed. But yeah, I know it feels bad for a lot of the people. Honestly, I could care less. And I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't care if there's a crossbow or not, as long as, like, there's still bows in the game. That's still a thing. Like, a more important thing in my perspective. Crossbow being a type of bow, it just less in, like, big to me, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, dang,
well, that's
crossbow
the
shade coming
point.
in
I'm
from
a
the
healer. Why would I need a crossbow? I'm not Anna from, like, Overwatch, where I shoot people and I heal them. Okay, I mean, who knows? Maybe I can make that build in Ashes, but, like, as far as I know, that's not how that works.
Yeah. I'll be honest though, like, during that announcement, with the result of the crossbows, I honestly didn't know until, like, that live stream when he mentioned it that they got rid of potion launchers.
Yeah, same. And that's the other sad thing, was
totally
like,
missed
oh
that
dang,
update.
it's also the potion launchers. Like, I didn't know they removed that. Apparently they had announced it at one point, but I was just
I mean, for me, I feel like people really got on their case about not knowing or not giving an answer, like, right away. I'm like, for one, they were a very small team when everything was, like, being done for, like, the crossbow and stuff like that. They're, like, a lot bigger now, and they've been dealing with so many moving pieces. Something's gonna get lost, so I didn't really have any malice towards them in that. I feel like people just kind of want, there's a few people maybe in the community just kind of want to be like, see, scam, see, they don't even know how their game is working. It's like, everything isn't always perfectly done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be real, because as a community podcaster, I have the luxury of hearing what the community thinks, and that's why I was like, please, by all means, tell me your thoughts. Don't tell me what the community thinks. Tell me what you think. But like, I know that, and I'm kind of addressing Mr. Valentine's comment here at the same time, but I know that they're an open development. Like, they're pretty much, you're able to see what they're working on, and they talk about it, versus a lot of the closed development people that don't say anything, and they're like, hey, this is coming out, like, right, MMO, like PAX Day. We don't know what they're working on. We just know that they're working on it. And so, like, that's the double-edged sword, because it's like, well, if you don't tell me everything, then you're not being open. But at the same time, they're telling us a lot of stuff that we don't normally get. So it's like, it depends on how each person defines what should be said when. And I just don't feel completely comfortable being in that, like, well, they should have told us because open development. All right, I mean, I don't agree with that specific reasoning, but for the case of communication in general, yes, I think that could have been done and dealt with a little bit better. But I don't feel like we are owed that information just because they're an open developer.
Honestly, I think we could have won our whole experience of development without knowing that was taken away. The only time it would probably came up was probably on a Reddit post being like, there's no crossbows in the game?
Yeah. And to kind of also address what Mr. Valentine was saying is the crossbow being gone, what's the next thing on the chopping block?
Yeah.
I honestly don't think there's going to be anything major. And for those who think that crossbows are major, I'm not going to like say that you're wrong, but just in the grand scheme of things, most people aren't like hung up on a crossbow existing. So they probably just said, whatever, we got bows, and that was the original thing for a ranger to have a bow. Because you don't typically think of a ranger having a crossbow, right?
Yeah, nothing can really be on the chopping block if we don't even know all the weapons they're supposed to be in the game. They haven't even given us a list.
But
how can anything be in the chopping block?
Yeah.
but yeah, I just don't think that there's going to be anything else really on the chopping block that's a major part of the game. Like nodes aren't going to be cut out, like the castles aren't going to be cut out, gliding mounts aren't going to be cut out, like none of that stuff. That's core to the game. It's going to be the small details that are going to take a whole lot of extra work.
I have to say, it's just, I mean, and Ravon, you know, you're understanding where we're coming from, like, but it's got to be such a hard thing to do as a company. You know, having this open development and knowing that you're literally showing your baby to the world before your baby is done. And opening yourself up to this, like, new level of scrutiny and vulnerability that most developers don't even open themselves up to. And I mean, Jolanda said this is like, now that they've done that, they can't undo that. You know, they can't suddenly go, hey guys, we're gonna kind of close development for a little bit. No, they promised to be open development, and they've been doing open development this entire time. And it's affected them a lot. People, I mean, riot over little things that are still in the process of getting fixed, like combat, which is a great segment to our first topic. Did you want to say something before I completely segue? Because I'm trying to get us going.
Yeah, I just wanted to address a couple comments there. For one, Falco, real quick, while I put this up there. So Revan says, still, I have to find a new range weapon for my Winter Soldier build. Deciding on longbow or shortbow. What do you think, longbow, shortbow?
I mean, I think both, honestly. I mean, that's probably not the answer you wanted, but like, I feel like one's gonna be better probably for PvP, and one's gonna be better for like PvE. Like, I feel like maybe the longbow is gonna be better for PvP or PvE because of the damage, and because obviously you're gonna be having tanks and like having people be in front of you. And then the short bow is probably gonna be one of those better ones because it's gonna have better agency for like movement and, you know, getting out of the way in and out of like situations. I think. So it depends what you are. The Winter Soldier, are you a PvE or a PvPer?
Yeah, I'm thinking short bow because he's gonna be all up in the action, right up on top of it.
All right.
And yeah, was he, by the way, the one spear with the life steal on it? Yes, absolutely agreed. And sorry, where were you about to go? Which one are you about ready to jump into?
I was just trying to make it flawless, which is not anymore.
Oh no.
That's okay. I'll just figure it out. Anyway, I guess what I was trying to say is that brings us to a perfect example of how, because Ashes does that open development, we're able to see every step of the way and things that they work on. One of the biggest things is this post by Chicago titled "A Problem with Auto Attacks." And he showcases Alpha 1 footage next to Alpha 2 footage. And in his perspective, Alpha 1 feels better than Alpha 2 in terms of specifically auto attacks. And the reason he gives is in Alpha 2 footage, he does a lot more damage with the auto attacks than he does with the spell attacks. And so he's worried that why would you want to stop doing auto attacks to do a spell attack if you lose DPS doing that? But the comments are kind of along the veins of, well, this isn't completely done and they're probably going to be adjusting the numbers, and it depends on like how much HP the mob has, because I guess at one point there was like a 700 amount of DPS happening. So like he hit it for 700 points, and that seemed like a lot for a level 15 according to OP. And this is just what I was kind of going into with the combat with Ashes, is like that's one of the things that are currently working. First, we need to make sure that, you know, when you push a button, it registers that you're supposed to be attacking this thing. And once that happens, it needs to then start registering that you're supposed to be damaging the thing. And then once that happens, then you add in the animation, because you're like, cool, it's attacking the thing and the thing's getting damaged. Now, how does that look? And then the last thing I think that you end up doing is fine-tuning everything, like the balancing and adjusting stuff. But what are your thoughts on, like, not only just the development, but the auto attacks and things like that?
I would feel for like if, let's say, auto attacks are not doing more damage. I forgot which way you said it. Was it auto attacks doing more damage than using like a skill attack, or was it the other way around?
Yeah, that's what they felt like in the most recent Alpha 2, closer to Alpha 2 showcase.
It might sound like a white knight, because obviously, I mean, I have some strong takes that are the other way, but I feel like we haven't even gotten into the game yet. I'm not saying dismiss that you see that. I'm saying hold on to that. Hold on to that thought in your mind. Go play the Alpha 2. If it is the same and you test out that it is the same, bring that up to the devs and to like the team, and they will fix that. But I'm saying that worrying about that now is probably the least of our worries. But we just want to get into the actual game so we can actually do some meaningful testing of like the mechanics like that, because that's a very meaningful thing. That is a thing to be worried about, but you can't do nothing about it until you actually have the game in your hand, testing it, and actually putting that information back in the devs' hands, you know?
Right.
Which is the same thing with, I mean, like the PvP, you know, that big PvP scandal, or not scandal, but like PvP thing that everyone was going on about. They're like, it's going to be like Lineage. It's like, how you know if you haven't even played the game? Like,
yeah,
test it out and see how it is, and then give the feedback. That's why it's an Alpha 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think I'd agree basically with a couple of comments in that thread, as well as what some people have said in chat here. Like, they're not even anywhere near a balancing phase. They likely, like Eroji said, they're likely just scaled it up. That way they could demonstrate nothing but auto attacks and show the different weapons and how they go through their attack phases and their combos and everything, while not getting demolished by the brick monster rock guys there. And then, you know, balancing down the line.
Yeah.
On top of that, the question that they posed also was, what do you think the proper ratio of attack to, or auto attack to abilities should be, like damage for damage?
Honestly, I feel like your abilities, if you're using magic and you're using things like that, they should have a bigger weight to them than just swinging around a random weapon, which is non-magical. That's my personal opinion. And I think that while This is like a little hard to explain. While it's important to be able to do auto attacks, somebody I think in the thread even mentioned something about the auto attack helping with like comboing your attacks together. I feel like if it's too strong, why would I use my skill abilities? If it's too weak, why would I use it at all? So there's like this weird balance that has to be met, but also if they can integrate it somehow within your combo or your rotation, if you want to call it that, that would be, I think, ideal. And I just don't know how you do it. No, we have not yet, or at least Vertec and I haven't.
Yeah, not yet.
I haven't either.
So I don't know. I think the auto attack should be maybe like half as strong as using an ability. I mean, just throwing rough numbers out there. That way it's strong enough that you want to use it as filler. You don't want to just sit there and wait for the next ability. You want to at least get in an auto attack or two before the next skill can be used. But at the same time, you want to use your skills. Like they should be used, at the optimal time. But maybe because of timing, you'll wait and do like 3 auto attacks while the second skill comes off, so you can do like a quick 1-2 action combo.
I mean,
I feel that.
For me, I feel like there's so many factors to it, to like weapons, because like with weapons and like all of them, you first are dealing with the attack speed of how quickly your auto attacks are, but then you're also dealing with cooldowns on the skills, so you have to manage how fast your auto attacks are and also how fast your cooldowns get. And then if there's any type of cooldown reduction type of gear or anything like that, you have to factor that in as well. And I mean, let's just say I'm just drawing like Vertec. Sorry, I said your name properly this time. Vertec. Sorry. I was like, dang, I hate when people say my name wrong. So I'm like, dang.
Yeah, but, no worries.
Sorry about that. I was like, yeah, I gotta make sure. But I would say ballpark number would be, I would say skills definitely have to do more damage than regular attacks. Probably, let's say 20% more, and then they can factor that in with your how long the skills take to cool down, and then also how fast like your actual weapon is, because obviously weapons are probably going to give some type of damage to like the percentage calculation that the skills do. So that's like it's a delicate balance, but that's why testing is the thing.
I couldn't give like specific numbers because I'm not like a game dev.
Right.
But I can just feel it and tell you what feels right,
Exactly.
Eroge says timing, comboing, and maneuvering is what the filter attack should be used for. aka the auto attack. And Ashes and Era says, my preference when it comes to the ratio is for easy mode, I am grinding for materials or low effort XP. I would like to be able to just hold down a button and auto attack 100% of the time while I'm watching Netflix or something.
That's not gonna be a thing.
Yeah, for hard mobs, I think character skill should be required for the vast majority of the time. And I think with Ashes, I don't think that's really gonna be a thing too much, because you're gonna need to not zone out, I think, for the majority of a PvP oriented. I'm worried, like, you could probably autopilot if you chose to autopilot, but if I think that's a good idea to do for Ashes, I would say no. Because there's anybody that could just walk up and gank you at any moment, so like you kind of have to be on. I would hate that, but I don't want to be bored. So watching shows while playing a game. Yeah, no, absolutely. I get that, though.
I don't think they would do that, because they said they wanted to make that there's no like AFK spots where you can AFK and get like experience. They want it to be like a full-fledged thing, kind of like what I see Ashes as. It's like a Rust. Like, have you guys played Rust or another game, Rust?
No, I've heard of it though.
I've watched it. That's about it.
But then basically Rust is like a game where it's kind of like Minecraft, but for adults. You build stuff, people can like, you can kill people out in the overworld, and that's basically like open world PvP and Ashes, but MMO style, where there's MMO aspects. And I don't think you would probably want to be AFK or watching a movie while in an open world PvP world, because
Rust I think is full loot. Yeah.
The rust is full loot. Yes, this one isn't. But like I'm saying, like it's that same like esque vibe. Like you walk into the overworld, you can be killed by someone.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I think to kind of summarize a few things, I think Ashes of Nera clarified saying that they were talking about grinding green mobs, like lower level, like your level, let's say 50, going down to like level 10 or 15 just to grind some low level mats for some reason.
More like
Like you're trying
mobs.
to like redo your crafting, so you need a bunch of skins of wolves, so you're just gonna go slay like 10,000 wolves to get wolf pelts.
Yeah.
Like that kind of grinding, or going out and like picking herbs. I mean, what kind of insane fun is that really in any game? Going out and picking herbs.
Personally, I understood where Nero was coming from, but I was also calling attention back to the point that it's open world PvP. And that potentially checking out in Ashes is not a good idea necessarily, because just because you're a high level in a low level area doesn't mean you're going to be the only one necessarily. Weed pulling simulator. But also, I wanted to kind of pull this out. Where is it? Ravon says, if people are planning to watch Netflix while in the game, then are they having fun in the first place? And exactly. I responded with, it's just a way to pass the time while grinding or just doing some kill quests. But Phosphorix responded right before me and said, for me personally, I know an MMO is good when even grinding requires my attention and is rewarding, and I get zoned into the game. And I was just like, you know what, you're right.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the biggest reason why I like stopped playing RuneScape, because that game is the ultimate time sink where you're supposed to be mining. And when you does say you need 13 million XP to get like a skill to 99, which is a max level, you get like 70k XP an hour. It takes you like 600 hours to get the skill to 99. But you don't want to be there. You want to watch freaking Netflix and grind like mining or something like that. That's not fun though. That's not fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I can see both sides of it. I personally don't know of any way to make mining exciting and fun and engaging and immersive, or chopping down trees for logs, or going around collecting herbs, or like I was saying, like 10,000 wolves you need to get, but you're a max level, but you're now starting to grind your actual crafting profession.
What about
like there's no way to make that entertaining.
Do you feel like actually doing the PvP aspects to get other people's mats is not a fun way to?
Glad you asked about caravans, friend.
But while she builds that up, I'll say you never know what we're gonna get out of caravans. It's like
absolutely
like a piñata. You never know what's gonna fall out of it, so it could be what you want, could not be.
And on the topic of gameplay that's also exciting and pulls your attention, Keon here, or Kilion, it's a little hard to read when there's I's and L's next to each other for certain fonts and sizes, so it's like, sorry if I got the name wrong. But they were talking about Pimp My Caravan, ideas for caravan quest and mechanics, which calls back to the MTV show so nicely. But then Arya Yashi, I'm not sure how you say that, sorry, summarized it so that people could just have the short version TLDR part of it. My caravan sounds amazing, right? So they said there's a lot of details, so let's pin down some key details. Caravan roles, caravan buffs based on each archetype. Client requests and suggestions, how many people should escort the caravan. Caravan leader earns more but has more punishment. The death penalties that is against the current proposal, so consider that would be better changing this. And then caravan buffs based on the leader's archetype. So for rewards, the ability to pay the defender with items, but when the quest ends, the item will be given through the looting system. XP payout, so the more you travel, the more XP the defenders will gain. Reputation gain for creating courier jobs in other people's nodes. Caravans should have mob events sometimes. And then having a highwayman, like a new role, should have a new type of reputation based on caravan PvP performance. This new role and its reputation should grant financial benefits while trading items related to caravans and stuff related to the caravans. So you've got I feel like they said trading items and stuff essentially if you take off related to caravans. Things like that. And I think it's interesting to have that like level of interest and engagement. Like I as a player need to feel completely interested, more so than just defending because I'm being a nice person. But if Sir Unsington is upset at me because I don't like crossbows and I have a caravan that I need to get moved over, he doesn't have a good enough reason to help me with my caravan because I don't like crossbows. So that's enough for him to be like, or hey, you know what? Just because you don't like crossbows, I'm gonna attack your caravan, right? So like, what's the point, or not the point, but what's the reward or the draw for people participating in the caravans, and how do we make sure that that's engaging?
Dang, that's the age-old question, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, obviously, we need like definitely a portion of like some type of loot or something like that. I feel like the caravan system could also benefit from having its own specific maybe currency that you get for going around helping caravans. Maybe it has its own like shop that you can use that currency at to maybe get cosmetics or maybe get stuff that you can put on the caravan that maybe doesn't cost money, that you can only get from doing enough caravans. Maybe that would be, I think that would be cool. Like you helped out 1,000 caravans or something like that, and you get like a specific skin that only you get for getting that many caravans. Monetarily, I mean, you don't want to make it too good, you know, because if it's too good, people are going to try to game it, you know, like people may try to game it and get a certain amount or get ahead, because I feel like what Alpha 2 is going to be about, seeing how many people try to game it and trying to reprimand that, make it so it's not a thing. But yeah, I mean, there's an endless amount, but that's like the first thing that I feel like comes to mind, having like caravans have its own separate shop. Because I know they said they're thinking about that for like taverns. So yeah, that's probably
Vertec?
I kind of like some of these ideas, some other ones maybe not so much. And oddly enough, the person who posted the TLDR version, I'm almost exactly the opposite of them. I think the random NPC encounters, I think it should be...
That would be tough.
Very much not likely, because if you're trying to gank a caravan, you could totally follow it far enough away where you're not detected or whatever, and as soon as they get jumped by the NPCs, as soon as the last few are still attacking them, you run in and take them while they're low on mana and hit points and whatnot.
I agree. You can definitely manipulate that.
Yeah, that could totally be gamed. But the other stuff that, you know, outward players don't know, like like the one where a caravan leader can earn more but gets more punishment if it fails. You know, caravan buffs or whatever based on the archetype might be kind of tough, because then it's always going to end up being a you know, this is the best archetype to run caravans.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Unless it's a thing where you can have, like, if someone is that archetype and they're guarding you also, then if it works that way, and I think that's all right. But if it's just the person who's driving the caravan or who's piloting, whose caravan it is, I think that's kind of too niche.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be an interesting system, and how it can be adjusted and played with. There's plenty of stuff they could do, I'm sure.
And also, I just want to add, like, I think it's really important that while these things are really cool ideas, we do temper our expectations and our excitement around it too much, because we're not really sure what all they can add in. But at the same time, I think it's really important that we do offer up these ideas in a what if kind of scenario, because you never know what Intrepid might simply pick up and be like, you know what, that's a pretty cool idea. Like getting XP rewards for traveling a really long ways, for assisting the caravan, things like that. And I think that adds to it a lot. But I think, let's see. Okay, Hogwarts Legacy. I did not play this, but somebody wanted to talk about, and I was already brought up in chat. Spell combat. They really like how Hogwarts did it. And this is from It's basically, I'm pretty sure Triforce, but it's like Trifor, and then CE is like the C is capital. So it says, Dubs, the combat revamp looks great and was much needed. I'd encourage you to check out Hogwarts Legacy. The spell combat cadence feels perfect. I haven't experienced this level of spell combat perfection since I can remember. The spell combat combos are engaging and rewarding, and all the spells are actually significant. So many games feature a number of useless spells these days. Those of you who enjoy playing a caster class, if you haven't played this game yet, you're missing out. And basically a lot of people are like, yeah, I mean, I agree. Like,
is it better than Elden Ring?
Apparently, like, people just really love the combat, specifically for the ranged spell attacks for Hogwarts. Saying that combat is super smooth and it feels good 70 plus hours into the game. The Hogwarts Legacy is insane. Only other combat I've enjoyed this much is Ion Ranger class before they nerfed rifting. And just a lot of people agreeing. I mean, that doesn't go too far, but everybody that's there agrees, basically.
Might have to try it out. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so that's why I didn't buy it, but I might have to try it.
Yeah, sorry, somebody's talking about putting spinning rims on a caravan.
Yeah.
I just saw Vertec responding to it. I didn't see the original.
Oh no! If my caravan
is always a character.
I don't want it.
You gotta use that air hydraulics though. I don't know what it's called for the air, but like pump it up so it goes.
A little airbag.
Yeah, so it's got that like hydraulic feel to it, bouncing down with its spinning rims, like in the 90s.
Phosphorus, you said Falco. I didn't even watch the movies, but the game is so good it doesn't even matter. Dang.
Nice.
Okay, that's a very big compliment.
I don't know what you can play Hogwarts Legacy on, but if you guys want to see us play it, feel free to, I guess, donate towards it, because right now we have a lot of things that we're trying to save up money for.
Yeah. Mainly moving.
Yeah, that's the big one. That's the big one, for sure.
Donate to Chibi and DJ Vertec. They're dope people.
Oh, well, thank you.
Appreciate that. We're not very good with like hey guys, if you appreciate the show, tip us, give us a follow. And I don't know, I'm not very good at that at all. Like, we were trying to come up with follower goals or like subscriber goals, and we're like,
Yeah, we're terrible with marketing ourselves. Like,
you gotta be your biggest champion.
I know.
Yeah.
You gotta be your biggest champions, because no one else is gonna champion you if you don't champion yourself.
We'll be there for you. So this kind of brings me into playstyle and quality of life. Let me ask first off, do you watch a lot of anime like we do? Thank you, Alexia.
It's too much, probably.
Too much? Nah, that's not such a So one thing I really love, especially with animes like I liked the original couple of seasons of it, Sword Art Online, Demon Slayer, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, all those like adventuring themed ones. I like how cool the anime makes MMOs feel. Like the anime makes you feel like you wish the MMO felt like that. Right.
I agree.
Or like that's what you feel like inside while you're playing your MMO. One of the two. Thank you so much.
Except for Sword Art Online, I don't want to be killed and die.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to die. I don't want to die if I die in game. I'm good on that. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Cheers to that. But so the thing that I wanted to bring up was sheathing weapons and how like some of the animes look and some of these other games have made it look, and being able to customize how your sheathed weapon looks. Do you like it? Are you for it?
I like it. I definitely like it. That's probably the biggest thing I liked about New World, that when you sheath your weapon, you kind of have like a faster movement speed, or it's like a better looking movement speed, I think.
Oh, I like that actually. Yeah, I find myself sheathing in other games for that same reason. I think maybe Zelda is one of them, but it just it feels weird having a big sword and just like running full speed with a big sword. It's just like
Right. That's what I was thinking. I mean, I think it's definitely something that would increase the immersion. Like, they already are trying to increase immersion with like weather systems and stuff like that. I think they could go that one step further and put sheathing. I think it would add to the game, add some more character.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Yeah, I like the idea of something like that.
Ultimate Iron Man mode. Yeah, I think also it adds to it because it's like it's your character. So if you're able to adjust where whatever weapons go when they're sheathed, like the images that they show have like for the daggers, they're both behind your back and crossed. For like the two weapons, they're both over like the sides. I imagine somebody like reaching up to their one side and pulling their two swords out like really quickly in one fluid motion. Or like some of the other games, though, like where it's a cross like on your back of the two swords, and you just go up to your shoulders on each side and pull out your weapon.
The only thing that makes me think they wouldn't allow customization of that is in a multiplayer game, the silhouette of the enemies you're going against in PvP is very important to ascertain what you're going up against exactly. So if you allow people to say let's say they have long swords and put two of them on their back versus having to wear them on their hip. But then most people would wear the shorter swords on their back, but the long ones on their hip.
Yeah.
Well, now you have no idea which swords are in which direction, so you could be facing one fighting style or the other and have no clue until the person draws the weapon and starts going.
Well, here's one way that I was thinking they could incorporate that without destroying anything else, which is somebody's not going to like what I'm about to say, but your cosmetics. Being able to use your cosmetics to kind of like, okay, well, I want my weapon to be kind of sheathed this way, so this cosmetic has that sheath option. I think that would go into play for it. I think that would be kind of cool. But yeah, I don't necessarily seeing it being a feature that they're going to add before then, but I think it's going to be an interesting thing to just be able to... Oh no. Okay, the hype train's almost done, you guys. Thank you. I was like, oh no. But yeah, it's one of those like, is it cool to think about? Yes. Do I see it happening? No. But it would be cool. Yeah, like I like that, and I don't like animation. Imagine
like go to put your sword away, and you have to like put it away like 2 or 3 times because you keep missing the sheath as you go to slide it in.
I kind of want to make like a little short. Like I was thinking as we got more caught up. Which, by the way, just quick plug for ourselves. We keep saying we're working on catching up. We are actually working on catching up. We have up until I think episode 108 planned for Sunday.
Oh, wow.
We are actually getting caught up. And Vertec is working very hard. Give him all the love and the head pats and all the meads, because he edited something like, I want to say 8 of them last night, or close to it, before coming to bed. And then on top of that, also intros. So, like, he's been doing a lot of work. And I don't feel like I am close to how much work that he does, just because, like, editing video and audio is horrible. And all I have to do is go over here and look at some docs that I already made from, like, past streams and just set up a YouTube description for him. And then he copy pastes it in. So, like,
don't let her
I help
fool
him
you.
out
She
in
does
that
plenty.
case.
Don't let her fool you. She does plenty. All that is plenty of work. But yeah, we've freed up a little bit of time, and we've also just stopped trying to find someone else to help us out because that was kind of a fruitless journey.
Yeah.
We've bumped into a couple that said they were going to end up helping, and we're like, okay, cool. That's one thing we don't have to worry about. It's off our plate, and we can deal with the other stuff we're trying to improve for the stream and all that, and just real life stuff in general that has been eating up all our time. But yeah, it's just at this point, I'm going to bed at 3 a.m. and getting up at 8 for work, and that's what I'm doing is editing till 3 a.m. and getting up at 8 for work.
I feel it. Oh no.
Yeah, so give him all the head pats. He deserves them. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to add, and I was trying to add a little bit of sweetness before we go into a little bit of the spiciness, because everybody loves a good DPS meter conversation. And I actually I sneaked a peek of Vertec responding to this post earlier, but somebody was suggesting instead of DPS meters, we had some sort of way of using test dummies to see our DPS and HPS and things like that. So Vertec, since you made a comment on it, I will let you take this one away.
All right, so DPS meters is one of my favorite topics, and it comes up every, like, what? Somebody help me out here. What, every 3 months, 4 months, maybe? Like, it comes up. A lot of people talk on it. A lot of people shoot out their exact opposite ends of the spectrum ideas, and they either flame it or they love it, and flame people who don't love it, and then it disappears for another 3 or 4 months. And then somebody new jumps into the scene, and they learn a little bit about ashes, and they go, "Hey, what about DPS meters?" And then it flames up for another couple of weeks. But I think every time I've kind of said, like, I'll be okay without DPS meters, but every argument that's made against them is not really legitimate as far as I'm concerned. I think it's silly. Like, what we want to do is we want to discourage the toxicity and elitism. Okay, so what they're going to tell you to do is you have to join Discord to be in voice to raid, and once you get in Discord, go defeat a stone golem, and by the way, you need to stream that for us so we can watch you kill it.
Dang, that's tough.
Now imagine which one's gonna feel worse. Someone saying, "Hey, what's your typical DPS? 4K. Oh, well, you need to do 4.5. I guess we could try you, but just you may not make it. We may need to kick you and get somebody else in here, or you can't cut it because we need 5." Yeah,
it's gonna get toxic regardless. Honestly.
It's gonna get much worse. It's gonna be so much worse when they make you join Discord. They make you jump in the channel, and then they make you do that, and you just drop it and say, "No, I don't want to. I just don't want to raid with you." Then you totally could have done that with the DPS meter, and they said you got to do at least 5K. All right, well, I don't need to raid with you then. But it's gonna feel so much worse when you have to jump through more hoops for it. So much worse.
I agree with that. That's my biggest gripe with games like Lost Ark, where like you don't have any friends who play, so you have to queue up with random people to do dungeons where they have mechanics that can just one shot you and no one knows it and no one talks or something like that. And you're like, it took me like 6 tries to get through this dungeon. It's like, give agency to the people who actually want to play the game, like to a high standard, you know, because like Steven said, he wants there to be a place for people who just want to play the game 2 hours a day, play the game like 12 hours a day, and the people who want to be like the top of the line people. I'm like, the way that you give agency to those people who are top of the line are the people by giving DPS meters and DPS calculators and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank you for the redeem.
Well, hydrating away.
Yep. Also, we have a Final Fantasy 7 styled message that you guys can redeem. So if you want your chat to go on the screen, feel free to use that. Like, as long as you're not being rude about it, feel free to use that.
Put some inappropriate stuff in there, and you're gonna be timed out for a little while.
Yeah.
Just saying. And the message is gonna be up there for literally 2 seconds.
Yeah. And it does one of those things where it like puts in number letter by letter, so it won't completely be it. But it'll be a good way for you guys to engage with us. And exactly. Go on the site.
Inappropriate how? That would be a question you ask, Nara. This is why
that would be.
But yeah, with the DPS meters, so So check this out, Falco. Maybe this will be the first time you've heard it, but tell me what you think about this as a middle ground. It's kind of been an idea that's developed over time. Every time we talk about it, it gets something else added to it and tweaked out. But so imagine there are no DPS meters per se in the game. And they've banned all the meters and third-party stuff, so you can't... Hey there, Snickers, welcome in. And thank you for this resub there.
Yeah, thank you.
And,
Cheers to that.
yeah, cheers. But, so now imagine, as a guild, you can go and jump into a raid or a dungeon, and as you fight these enemies, you can start earning, like, experience towards an item that you can unlock with your guild. You spend your guild points, like, you've heard that you can spend your points on your guild to, like, increase the size or, like, increase taxes and random stuff. Like, get benefits for your guild, like better gathering or something like that. Well, what if you could toss in some points to open up a mini arena type setup in your guild hall? This arena, you can fight enemies, inappropriate stuff. Nice, fantastic. Way to game the system.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, let's say you go and you fight this raid boss, right? And you're having a hard time getting it down, but every single time you go in there for like 3 or 4 days or whatever, individual days, you go in there and you see this one mechanic and you keep wiping to it. Well, now you can pay someone a fee, be it a player, NPC, or whatever. You can pay them some gold as a gold sink to kind of upgrade your arena to include that boss and that mechanic that you've now experienced on 3 separate days as a guild run. So you can slowly evolve your arena to expose yourself to all these encounter mechanics inside your guild hall. But you need to experience that mechanic. So if you only get to phase 1 on a boss, then you're only going to get those phase 1 mechanics unlocked. Once you start to see phase 2, you can start to unlock those mechanics. But again, they're going to cost you extra money. Yeah, Bochi, almost like that, but like, instead, just imagine you got them building like a giant, like a wooden thing for like a dragon or whatever, like something to represent it. Like, I don't know how they would want to do it.
This isn't something the people who aren't the best at the game can get to, like, over time. It's like a thing that's only like, you only get what you're as good as, like how proficient you are at the game. Is that what you're kind of trying to say?
Yeah, whatever the guild is able to see, whether they beat it or not is irrelevant. Just they're able to experience that in a fight, then they can start unlocking that in the arena. So if you go in and you fight something 3 separate days in a row, so like one raid week, you're gonna have 2 raid nights, right? Trying to beat it, and you're gonna bash your head up against that wall. That's 2 nights.
So you only have to experience it. So let's say it's a dragon that I can't like actually beat, but I can go to it and I'm losing like a bunch of times. I can unlock that and use that in my guild, even if I haven't beat it, to kind of like give me like some practice rounds.
Yeah, like you get some practice rounds. You keep getting slapped down by it. Like, it's a claw mechanic and it swipes the entire raid, and you just can't seem to figure out how to survive it.
I like it.
You experience that 3 times, and then you can practice it in your own guild hall instead of fighting other players to learn the mechanic and survive it.
I like it. I just think it's going to take away from people going out unless they know how to do it. And I feel like that kind of the thing that I feel like makes this game the risk and reward factor is that, yeah, if you do go out to a boss and you think you may be able to beat it and you die, you're going to lose some materials. Not all your materials, but you're going to lose some. And that's what kind of took me into RuneScape also, because like, if you die, you lose everything unless you can get back to your grave. And I like that risk, you know?
Yeah, the risk versus reward, but the other thing that opens up is being able to have a almost true to raid experience to record your damage output in a raid type experience, but in your guild hall.
Right.
I mean, can't they just tell us what our DPS is based on like kind of like a system, like a combat score system, right?
Oh, I mean, there's a ton of different ways they can do it, but they're trying to, I don't know. This is like, I love Intrepid, but this is one of the arguments against like meters of any kind that I just don't understand, because it's going to be more toxic because that's something that people are used to having in games.
Yeah.
So it's going to become more toxic because they're still going to require a demonstration, but now it's going to be more arduous for those people who just want to get in a raid.
Yeah.
Feel it, but I'm a person where I have to. I'm not gonna shoot something down just because the way I think it may work out. The way if I think it may not work or not. Like your idea, it sounds plausible, but I feel like it may take away just from obviously we haven't tried it out, but I feel like it takes away from some of the core things in the game, which is like the risk and reward factor of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Even if it's one, or even if it's just like 3 times, or how many, like there's a set amount of times you can actually try something. But like I said, I'm for it because I'm gonna use it if it's in the game. You know, I'm for it.
Yeah, see, that's kind of how I am. Like, yeah, I'm okay with there, even if there's no meters. I'm okay with it. It's whatever. I think the reasoning that they're putting out there is really kind of silly because there's so many different things you are going to experience because of not having them at all in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to say was that I kind of brought this up because this was a conversation we had during the community open office hours that Intrepid does. But I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, as a hardcore gamer, all I really want is to be able to tell how I'm doing progression-wise. Hello, Turga, welcome in. All I really want is to be able to see how am I doing from last time? Am I progressing? Am I getting better? Anything. And it doesn't have to be a DPS meter specifically. It can be any way that you can decide to tell us about that, you know? And I think it's an important piece, especially for people like not just like min-maxers, but people that do play a little bit more competitively. What are you giggling at?
Oh, because of the redeem of the Champion of the Hill.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I just I was thinking that might not be too bad of an idea. Like, there's a way to do it without DPS meters, then that would be ideal. But that kind of brings us directly into the next thing I want to talk about, which is min-maxing. And there is a viewpoint out there. I'm not laughing because I'm trying to be mean. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I just think this is amusing. So the viewpoint is that min-maxers will ruin every server's storyline. And I really don't agree with that. And the reason why I don't agree with that is because, yes, I may min-max. No, I'm probably not going to min-max like which quest I'm going to do. I'm not even going to know unless there was a guide out there for that. Yeah. Congratulations, Phosphorix.
Phosphorix is the new Champion of the Hill with the donuts. Congratulations.
I love it. I like how the donut's been winning lately. But but yeah, I found it amusing because as a min-maxer or a person who tries to be like a min-maxer, like every server is going to be different. Every part of the game is going to be different. Just because 2 people have a node up doesn't mean it's the same exact quest lines that are there. So like, I don't know what to say with that. And honestly, it's going to be probably the quote-unquote min-max for the moment where people are like, oh, I got this super awesome gear. Oh, where did you get that from? Oh, this quest line over here. And then they just send other people to that quest line because of that, you know? And then what happens? People are questing and earning XP, and the node is leveling, and guess what? That node's gonna level, and guess what? That storyline, that whatever quest may not even be there once the node levels. So I don't know.
I mean, like they said, once a month, there's probably gonna be like a raid or like what's called one of those things, the sieges where they siege places and areas and like that. And if there's 10,000 people on the server, I mean, there's gonna be a million types of videos on what people think the min-max is, and everyone's gonna be trying to do some type of thing. And like you said, metas change, especially when there's a bunch of updates coming into the game. We don't know obviously how frequently these updates will come into the game. I'm assuming they're gonna do it pretty frequently. But I don't have a problem with that because min-maxing isn't every game, not even not just MMOs, every game. Fortnite, Apex Legends, freaking Call of Duty. Everyone tries to min max, because everyone wants to. Even if you are playing the game only a few hours a day, people want to play it the most efficiently they have with their time. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. I think this is only a worry to a small degree. Because people are going to see things that they like. I don't think it's necessarily going to be min-maxers. There's definitely going to be people who are just all about seeing that one creature that's, I don't know, their favorite because of insert any reason. Like, it looks badass, it looks whatever, the armor that comes from it looks amazing. Like any random reason. There's gonna be more than just min-maxers that are gonna be trying to push to get certain nodes. It's gonna be many people for many different reasons.
Yeah.
To be honest, there's going to be guilds that are going to create alliances that are going to, quote unquote, ruin a server's storyline because they're going to create an alliance of a couple nodes around a castle and they're going to dominate that entire section of the map and never leave it, ever.
Yeah.
It's never going to change because they're always going to come to each other's defense and they're always going to keep that castle trading off. You got it this month, we'll get it the next. And they're going to defend each other's nodes and it's going to be just... That's going to be their thing. They're going to ruin that storyline just because they want to dominate the server.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I could see that.
But that doesn't mean that some other people can't create their own alliances. Like, believe me, there's going to be a million probably YouTubers making content on Ashes when it comes out. And don't worry, Aspen's Goal is going to have his freaking alliance probably, or his group of people, some other person, I don't know, Shroud or someone who plays the game. There's going to be a million alliances. Honestly, I'm gonna probably try to stay away from any big content creator servers, but just for that exact reason.
That's fair.
Right. I don't know. It's just everything's gonna be different. I feel like everyone's gonna have their own thing.
I wanted to read this out loud because I thought it was funny. Mama raised me right. She said, if you're gonna game, you may as well do it 16 hours a day and don't even think about doing your homework. At least that's how I played it out in my head. And Ashes and Air says, for builds, as long as Intrepid gives you the tools to build counter builds, whatever builds is FOTM can be countered, and that is as it should be, and I agree. Absolutely. And honestly, it's gonna change server to server, I think.
Definitely.
Depending on what raids have been finished, what kind of gears.
I was gonna say, don't your weapons and your gear kind of affect that too?
Definitely.
Yep.
So,
if they have a horizontal progression, I mean, let's say you've unlocked the Firelands but not the Icelands, right? There you go. Let's say you've unlocked a raid that has all sorts of poison stuff. That's going to drastically change what kind of classes are going to do better, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, like Nera said, they're designing it around group play, and it's going to be rock, paper, scissors. So there's always going to be something that's going to beat it.
Right. And I think that's perfect. Like I'm referencing RuneScape because that's probably the game I have the most like MMO like experience on. But like they did it perfectly. Like mages are good against melee because armor doesn't really fare well against spells, and rangers are good against mages because cloth armor doesn't really do well against arrows. And like melee is just kind of if you get close, you're gonna do some damage. To anyone.
Yeah. And then as far as other topics, actually this week was kind of light on decent topics. So all I really have is an RP. It's very large. I'm going to warn you. A very, very large RP piece. It's called a Kivek story. Boar's Banquet Part 1, and it's by Akarith, I think is how you say this person's name. And it's a huge block of text, so just be ready. But if you like reading people's roleplay pieces, it's quite the scroll. I will let you enjoy that. I will not ruin it. Hello, Da. Welcome in. We need a good new Western MMO. Heck yeah! Come on, Intrepid. I know, right? I'm gonna take a nap though. Yeah, you were pretty on today with your Diablo 4. I hope you enjoyed playing that. And actually, That's one of the things that I was kind of curious. Chat, are you playing Diablo 4? Are you not playing Diablo 4? Personally, for me, not doing it. Isometric is not for me. I'm not into that. I can do it for some games, but it's very particular games. I like the freedom to look around the world freely. A carrot? No, a carrot. A carrot. I'm not sure how you say this person's name. D4 tried it. It's like D3 and D2 and D1 with just better graphics. Yeah.
I feel it. I mean, Diablo. That was an interesting game. Like I said, isometric games like League of Legends and stuff like that aren't my forte. I feel like I could do better on like 2D games, like side scrollers, than probably isometric.
Yeah, I just don't like the bird eyes view. I feel like I'm forced to look down at the game instead of like up and around. I'm a very visual person, so if I can't have freedom of where I want to look, it's not very fun for me. Keeps crashing because it's not fully downloaded though. I get that.
Yeah, I don't know. Me with Diablo games, I enjoy them, but I don't think I enjoy them enough to keep playing them for a while, so they end up not being worth the money that I pay for them, I guess is the best way I can say it. Like, it's a $70 game, and I play $30 worth of it, because I don't even get to the end on one character. I might play a couple, and I think mainly it's just because my friends, I like playing that game with friends, and then I end up, we can never sync up schedules to actually play for longer than about, a half to 3/4 of a campaign, and I'm like, all right, I'll wait for you, and we never get around to it. Yeah. And it doesn't hook me enough to want to play it on my own.
Yeah.
I agree.
But, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It looks nice. I was super excited. I have to say, I was super excited about the character creator for it, because the last time I played Diablo 3, I realized it was just here's a character, here's another character you can play, and there was like little to no customization, and it completely killed it for me, because I don't know, something about being able to make the character mine matters a lot to me. And I think it's like one of those, once you try a game that has a certain detail to it that you really like, it's harder to go to games that don't have that detail in it. And I think that was probably one of the things that kind of stood out for me, is being able to make the character feel like it was me, besides just naming it my name. Because sometimes there's like, a good example is one of my favorite childhood games, actually, I just found out today. This is gonna show how Care Bear I am, I guess. But I was like 11 when I was playing this. But it was called Harvest Moon. And I liked it. And I think, what was it? A New Life or something like that. A Wonderful Life. There we go. Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life. I always think of the movie A Wonderful Life. But apparently there's another company or a similar company that is Seasons of the Story of Seasons, that's picking it up, and they're doing Story of Seasons A Wonderful Life, which is literally the same game, but nowadays like graphics and systems put in there, so like you can customize it. But when I was 11, I was stuck playing a guy, which I didn't really care. I was like, but like, I'm 11, I don't care who I'm playing, boy or girl. But as an adult, I'm like, I don't really want to play a boy, I want to play a girl, because I'm a girl, I want to play a girl. And I can play a girl in all these other games where I can customize it. And they added that in, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love this. I'm going to be playing this game. It's going to be my casual game. Like, instead of Animal Crossing, which I've ran into the ground 3 different times, I want to play that again because of the nostalgia, right? But there's certain things like that with MMOs. Like, MMOs have that same thing where that other games end up lacking, and that's what draws me back to MMOs every single time. It's just like, but like I can interact like actively, instead of, I think I was playing Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2, and you kind of like queue up all these things and then you watch the characters do it. Yeah, it's just one of those. I prefer when I push this button, I see my character do that button, like whatever that move is, versus I'm going to queue this up and then I'm going to watch the super awesome cutscene that's happening because I chose to queue up those certain things.
Mm-hmm.
It has its place, but...
I agree 100%. I mean, it's all perspective on how you enjoy a game.
Yeah. And Alexa's like, not gonna lie, not being able to have a female character seems like such a small thing, but it is legit important to me too. Yeah, so it's just, I mean, even if it was like the opposite, if there was, I mean, I feel like guys don't care as much, especially if the model looks good, but I've heard I play a female character because if I have to look at a butt all day, may as well be a good one.
Honestly, I don't care who I play, honestly. With me, like, I play a lot of games where it's like gender, like, exclusive. Like, I've been playing a game called Dungeon Fighter Online recently. Yeah. And it's like they have a male slayer and then a female slayer, a male fighter, female fighter, and they both have their different types of skills. So like, but I play them all because they're all cool to me.
Yeah. But yeah, this is actually quite late for us, Phosphorix. Usually we end about an hour earlier. This is actually the wrap up. So I hope you have a good night. I hope you sleep well. Thank you for stopping in and giving us your time.
Sorry, guys.
Thanks for stopping
don't
in.
be sorry. Don't be sorry. No, we accommodated our guests. We know what that means. But Baoshi says maybe Blue Protocol will fill the hole, or PAX Day if it comes up before AOC. But the one that scares me is Riot MMO. I don't agree with that on my own personal level. And that's only because like Riot is like pro PvP, and I'm not really pro PvP. So like I might like Riot if they have like skins like they do for League, but that's all I really liked out of League anyway, was the skins. Like, ooh, my character looks like this, but now it has this skin. But if I can make my own character, I'd still prefer that than just putting a skin on a character at the end of the day. Yeah, I don't like gender locks either, really.
I mean, I live and learn with it, honestly. Most of the games, or earlier games, like MMOs, had it. Like, there was very few that I remember not having it. Like Final Fantasy XIV recently had the gender lock for the Viera before they fixed it. Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was locked for almost an entire expansion.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's no boy bunny, it's just girl bunnies. But there are boy bunnies in the story, which people are like, there's boy bunnies in the story, why can't I be a boy bunny?
Like, dang it, loophole. Now we have to make a boy bunny.
I was like, I don't know. But I shared, actually, it's perfect timing because there's, unless Vertec is sharing this.
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. I was like, this is perfect timing. On the screen, they have like a character. Nope, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. But actually, just FYI, talking about community and stuff, this person proposed to, not proposed, but applied to work for Ashes, with a lot of people saying that they should.
Did he get in?
We haven't heard yet. This was a new post that they just put up, I think, yesterday or today. So, but a lot of people like the, like what they're saying with this, and I guess this is like a tool they're trying to make. I'm interested in seeing how they're gonna do it though. Like, if this is a tool, how are we gonna get our characters in there? That's what I want to know.
How do you get the assets for that?
I think he made it.
Well,
like that picture?
Yeah, there were some images that they gave out on, not really gave out, I guess, but they posted with their blog post. So it's possible that maybe they snagged some of those.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, so like, just to put this in perspective, as a web developer, my job is literally to take PSDs and make them into websites. So any UI front-end web developer is really good at looking at a picture and making it happen. That's our job.
That's tough.
Yeah, it can definitely be tough, but it's literally what we do every single day. Like, the designer will give me a PSD and say, this is what we want the website to look like. And I'm like, all right, here I go. I'm going to go code it up now. And then I hand it back to them, and I'm the one that puts the functionality into it. So like, as they're hovering, it has the functionality that they couldn't have otherwise shown.
And that's HTML, right?
I primarily work in React, but yeah, it's HTML based. React uses something called JSX, which is basically JavaScript mixed with HTML. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, it's pretty fun. As far as your question, Sir Huntington, I only played A Wonderful Life. I really wanted Mineral Town though, because there was a part on the game on my GameCube that said, if you put in the Mineral Town game, you get access to this other area, and I never got access to that other area. I was a very sad child for that. But I recently tried grabbing one off the Switch. I was not too pleased with that. I was just like, it didn't feel that nostalgia. It felt like ruined nostalgia. So yes, all of us are dreaming about Alpha 2, and I think that's kind of where I'm gonna leave this in general. Is we're all dreaming of Alpha 2 and content creator capabilities. Like, please give us that information soon.
Right,
Intrepid.
Steven, please.
Character creation.
Yeah, just to address a question from Ashes of Nair, where do baby bunnies come from?
Oh god, that I did not miss that.
So because April's coming up, every Easter, the Easter bunny comes out and he hides a lot of eggs. Okay. What you got to do, that's why they have so many kids going out and finding them, because every single Easter egg that's found is a baby bunny that appears in the world. So do your best and find as many as you can.
Dang. I've eaten a lot of baby bunnies in my life.
Don't eat the eggs.
Chibi's hiding. Chibi's hiding.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Not a fan of my funny. Not a fan of my funny. I see.
On that note, what is one thing that you're hoping Intrepid will do? Either for the next live stream, which I think is next week, the week after, the week after, or what is something that you hope to find out before summer?
Alpha 2 Day. I mean, yeah, that's that everyone though, but Alpha 2 Day definitely. But I honestly want to find out, because I'm going to make. I have like 3 characters I'm gonna make on the game. I've already told people: Archer, Rogue, and Bard. Those are the 3.
We're all waiting for that Bard.
Right. I want to know about the Bard more than the Rogue. Personally, I would like to see a Bard showcase. Though? Right. I love Bards. But I would also, answering your question about this next showcase, I'm kind of sad that they said we're only going to see the area of Tower Carving instead of actually a dungeon run through, because they kind of hyped it up. That also pissed me off. They kind of hyped it up to make it seem like, with that trailer at the end of last trailer, or at the last podcast, that it was gonna be like a big showcase, and it'll be like probably some walkthrough of like an area, probably not even the tower. So that pissed me off. But I would like to see, I don't know, probably some more UI like actually implemented in the game.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that.
Just images.
Right, I would love to see that they've worked on that more. And I'm waiting for that. What's it? Cyclops, because we were supposed to see it. They said like 3 months into into the new year, but that didn't happen. So Cyclops, whenever that happens.
Yeah. Vertex?
You know, I think a Vex showcase is in order. I think Vex showcase is in order. We need to know more about the world of Vec. We know what Vecians are all about.
You're not just saying that because you're biased, right?
Didn't we get Vex when they showed?
Totally objective. Totally objective.
Totally objective.
Didn't we see Vex a little bit when they showed off the weather system?
We saw that they exist and that they walk around, but there wasn't a whole lot an actual showcase like they do for like the tank and the cleric, where hey, this is this and that and the other, and hey, so tell us about the Vec. Give us some lore. Show us their architecture. Show us their sigils and stuff.
Right, that'd be dope. That would be.
What does a Vec village look like?
Where do they reside in the world? It's not the desert, right?
That's a really good question. I don't think not the desert for sure. I don't know if they're more woodsy or more like flatlands or what they are. See, that's why we need a Vex showcase, because we have no idea.
Alexia would like to play with the character creator. Vex strike me as jungle. Ooh, I can see that.
I agree.
Let's see. Also, Alpha 2 and details on Summoner. So those are some of the hopefuls.
Summoner.
Are you asking, has anybody bought that, or?
Yeah, I'm
Because I'm
reading that
pretty
as,
sure-
has anyone been brave enough to buy the $1,000 pack?
Do they have that?
Wasn't that what PI was? I'm a little confused by that question.
I don't think they have that anymore.
1,000. The 1,000 went up to, I think that was Leader of Men. The 2,500 was the PI, the beginning of PI.
Okay.
And yeah, 5K was the Hero of the People or something like that. I don't know. I forget. But then there was Avatar of the Phoenix for 10,000, which is like, you gotta have some expendable income for that.
I really wish, because like that's a solid down payment for like a house or like debt or something.
$10,000.
Yeah, but you also got like some really big things out there. Like you got the source book from Steven's Pathfinder game. I think you got a private DM session by him too.
I better get Steven's number.
Well, for the 10K pack, you not only get the invite to the launch party out there, but you also, like, the weekend of the launch party, you get a one-shot session DM by Steven.
Yeah.
And some of the Intrepid gang hanging out with you.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't there's a lot of people that have like gotten up over the years. Just because somebody has a 1K pack or any pack at all doesn't mean that they put all that money down at once. You can buy up slowly. So
yeah.
Jesus.
But that's also like, I don't know, I feel like for that stuff sometimes it's like personal information. I'm like I
just want to play the game.
Yeah, same, pretty much. But as far as me, I'm hoping to see just more game updates in general. I felt like last year they did a really good job of kind of showcasing some parts of the game, and there was a lot of hype behind that, and it was really good. But for a company, not really a company, but was given that they said back in October that testing was going to be soon for Alpha 2, and then we didn't hear anything since. There's kind of that expectation of like maybe the testing will be happening again here soon, or maybe it'll start, because I know he said it around either the live stream or right before the live stream or like right after the live stream. And that's where like a lot of people are like, okay, well, you said that testing should be happening soon, so where is it? And is there any updates on that? And it just, the live streams since then have not mentioned anything to do with it. And so it's just one of those, if you mention it once and you kind of put that flavor, kind of like you said, they hyped up like Carfin a little bit. Once you mention something and you put that flavor in people's mouths and they hunger for more, it's you end up dealing with the mana hungry elves in World of Warcraft, where once they get a little taste, they can't stop. They need more.
I agree. Same thing with the Cyclops. Like, they've been hyping that up forever. Yeah. So I think I follow Jalon's kind of vibe on that, where I temper my expectations so that I don't feel let down. Although he made a joke about me feeling let down because I'm short. Yeah. I think aside from that, we are gonna go ahead and honor somebody else's Guide the Raid. I normally would have requested, and there's something that you guys will see next week when we have Sir Onsington on. I normally would have requested by now if you guys would like to guide the raid or suggest who we raid, but somebody guided the raid before and we didn't finish late enough to get to raid them. But this girl, her name is Desi Heat, and she's playing World of Warcraft. So once we get done with the outro section, we'll be raiding over to her, just as a heads up, in case anybody's wondering why we're not asking you guys this time.
So, on the way out there, Falco, do you have anything you'd like to plug? Anything you'd like to say? Anything you'd like to release into the world verbally?
I'm very glad it's Alexia. I'm happy.
Come over to my YouTube channel if you guys want to learn more about MMOs just in general. Obviously, I can't put out any Ashes content on it, but
Right.
not yet at least. But I have a series I'm doing where I'm revisiting like all of my old time MMOs and giving reviews and takes on them for 2023. I have a lot, and I'll just say the list just real quick. These are just a few of them. These aren't all of them. These are just a few that right now I've done Blade and Soul, and that's my first one I put up. But I plan to do Dungeon Fighter, Maple Story, Vindictus, Guild Wars 2, right? Maple Story, Latel, Mabinogi, RuneScape, FlyFF. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Genshin Impact, Final Fantasy 14, Fantasy Star Online, and World of Warcraft. So
Lots of stuff to look forward to, you guys.
all right, it's a lot.
So check out Falco if you enjoy.
All right.
Get to know him a little bit more before Ashes begins.
All right.
Yeah.
And obviously Ash's content, just but yeah.
Yeah. Just when we can.
All right. Thank you guys for having me on, by the way. I appreciate you guys, and you guys are down there as genuine, amazing people.
Well, thank you. It's been
thank
fun
you so
having
much.
you on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great
I
conversation.
Yeah, go ahead. If you're
Well,
doing the ending part.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you everybody for spending your time with us, hanging out with us, and contributing to conversation. That's the best kind of support you could give us, is just being here and saying hello. But it is spending your time. Time, as always, is non-refundable, so we hope you enjoyed what you paid for it. Yeah.
And we'll be back again next week with Sir Owensington. And again, please check out Falco on all of his socials we have listed below. And as we work hard on getting this stuff updated, we will probably be being a little bit faster getting this stuff live for you after the streams. So keep an eye out on that for the next in the next month. So
Yes.
until
Everyone
then,
have a good night.
All right. Until then, we'll see you later.
bye.
Bye.